at 6 o'clock. A translation of our meeting is in Spanish is available via Zoom, and you can access the link for the translation via our website or Facebook page. Please be advised that a recording may be made at the direction of the board, and that the recording may capture images and sounds of those attending the meeting. Report of actions taken in closed session, none. Attendance roll call. President Rothberg Allen here. Clerk Reed.
Here.
Trustee Gonzalez. Trustee Lopez Jones.
Here.
Trustee Rios. And our student representative. Thank you. I pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
District mission statement. At Calistoga, we empower students to graduate with respect, empathy, integrity, and the skills needed for success in life and work. We provide a supportive, inclusive environment where students gain essential academic knowledge, critical thinking abilities, and real-world skills. Our goal is to ensure all students feel a sense of belonging, are prepared for future opportunities, and graduate with pride, resilience, and a passion for lifelong learning. 5. Public comment. This portion of the agenda allows an individual the opportunity to address the board on any item regarding board business that is not on the agenda. Without taking action or entering into a dialogue with the public, board members may briefly respond to statements made or ask clarifying questions about topics posed by the public. Your matter may be referred to administration. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each.
No public comment on non-agendized items.
Okay. Presentation 6.1, 2025 summer program overview.
We do have a public comment related to the summer program. Ms. Amy, come on.
Hello. So I worked half of the summer program, and I just wanted to say thank you so much for choosing the Galileo program that we were part of this summer. It was great. The materials that they that came with the program, they were amazing. Everything was like well organized. So as a teacher coming in and looking at my box, it's like, okay, I'm supposed to use this and this, this. And the kids had an amazing time. And I've been told that we were gonna have some of the pictures to show what some of the kids were doing. And it was a highlight for the kids. The only thing I would really like is for next year for that third additional piece of Galileo, where they have an outdoor I forgot what it's called, Tammy, help me. The outdoor cooperative piece, which was something that I was really interested in. And they said we didn't have that, but I would love to see what it's all about. So anyway, loved it. Thank you so much for your support, and materials were amazing.
Thank you very much.
Okay, well, I'm excited to introduce Tammy Marion and Randy Griffin to you tonight. I shared with you last month, just overall very pleased with how the summer school program ran this summer, this past summer. And tonight we get to hear a little more detail from Randy and from Tammy.
Well, thank you for having us again. It was another great summer.
Tammy, can you get a little closer just so the translators can hear you?
Thank you for having us again. It was another great summer. Just gonna go through all the highlights. So start off, I think it is. And then there was 2 summer principals. We had some. Does that work?
Yeah.
Can everyone hear? Okay. So there was 2 summer principals, 2 summer secretaries, we have 34 summer teachers altogether and 14 summer paras. Over at CES, we were fortunate, we had a lot of our own staff for our teachers, which always makes it so nice that we know the classroom, say the kids, but really just get going, so I'll let you talk.
Yeah, with our staff this year, last summer, it was nice that we had a returning staff, which extremely was helpful. As we had major construction projects through the campus, with veteran teachers knowing how to do summer school, and we were able to still operate and still be on task.
Then it's also having like our maintenance people and our food service and the tech people. It just made it flow. I felt it just flowed really smooth this summer. Something we had new was our wellness specialists were on campus. So kind of when like kids were feeling, we didn't take that support away from them during, because there's some kids like get pretty used to going, like that's how they start their day. So it was amazing having them on campus as well. At CES, we were up. Alex does a really nice job of like figuring out how many kids we have and comparing it to last year. So we were up this year so this has been our highest year. We had 180 kids. We had Bridges, which is those never been to school ever kids coming in. We had 10 or 11 of those and they did great. Extended summer school, we only had 4, but they had a blast. And then we had our rising 1st through 5th graders.
Before I go on to our programs, I just want to add something about the staffing too. This year, we also have a campus supervisor and a wellness specialist on campus. The wellness specialist was able to do SEL projects for our students, for teachers to use during their roll time. And having our student advisor designated be on campus and supporting their students was very helpful. We had our Wildcat Academy for second year with the rising grades 6th to 9th. So we had rising 6th graders on our campus, which was very beneficial. It's in a school year, students with special needs, and also our ELD students working on English, and also our Wildcat Achieve students getting back pet recovery back on the A through G track, and also a senior that graduate requirements.
This is just a breakdown that Alex does of who attended. So we had a lot of 4th graders. They're rising 4th graders, but it was great when they were pretty much evened out, where we had about 16 kids per class, which was it's a nice number for the summer. And then our ESY kids were able to push into the classrooms and we have a lot of younger kids. Like I had a whole classroom of TK students that were TKs last year that were rising genders. They just made their whole class this year in summer school, which we haven't had before.
But then as you can look at the chart, there we see the numbers. But I do want to point out for our junior high ELD, junior high ES5 program, what we did in the first part of the morning, we really focused on math and EL curriculum for our students. And in the second half, we mainstreamed into our enrichment programs so that every student had a full experience of the summer school program.
And then we did something just a little bit different this year. Before we've done our kickoffs kind of been 2 half days. And this year, because of where Juneteenth fell, we did it in 1 work day. We kind of did training in the morning, and then we gave teachers we did a whole district training in the morning, and then we gave the teachers work day in the afternoon. So, and I got a lot of feedback from that people like that. They didn't have to give up 2 days in the summers. At CES this year, we used the camp for the TK through 2nd grade. The theme excellent. You create this whole camp feeling, and sing songs and really talk about working together, and it worked well. For the third grade, I didn't do lit camp because we were doing the Galileo and I didn't want to have 2 new programs thrown on them in the one summer. So they continued to do Scholar Zone, and then they also did the Galileo Idea Lab.
So that's the secondary side, as you can see, grades 9 or 6 to 9, sorry about that. We did fun projects, with the help with our ACE program, engineering, sports, robotics, drones, math, social studies, tied in with English. Grades 10 to 12, Apex, credit recovery, I'll go in depth in that, and then math with Alex credit recovery. And we also had some really fun stuff at the junior high league program with 3 pool days. We also introduced drama and music into the curriculum. And then our fun trips to the Academy of Science, Oakland Zoo, and then end of the year with the kids' favorite, the Epic Center.
And some of the pictures you're seeing up there, those are 2 of the girls from Amy's class that did one of the cooperative, all the projects that they did, none of them were individual projects, they had to work together in groups to do the their projects together. And then the other one in the bottom is where the kids are super engaged, is Henry's creative writing class. And there is their little project that they, the Slide Pocket Stories should be passing around if you guys want to take a look at it. It's really nice little published stories. So just a little bit. Just a little bit more on the Galileo Lab because this was new to us this year. Those are just the objectives. Those are what, when Michael and I were looking at them, like this is what they said, okay, here's what, we want your school to get out of this. So then at the very end, Michael came up with a survey to send out, and we said to the teachers and the students to see like, how was it received out there? And I was getting really good feedback from the teachers and the students during it, but I just wanted them to be able to express themselves. So the teachers' feedback was like, it was engaging, it was easy to implement, it led to learning, and they would definitely use it again. The kids, which I love reading, when kids write feedback, you get like those honest answers that you want. So they were like, they enjoyed the activities, and they gave us some examples like this spinning box, and then this making structures of whole water. There was one, the whole egg thing, and then one that involved weighing water bottles. And they really felt like scientists, like they were doing science, but it wasn't boring science, is what they said. So it was the fun science, and they also loved being able to work with their friends in the groups.
All right, some data points here. So we did our math recovery. This is 6 students were enrolled, 10 courses were completed, for a total of 50 math credits were completed. Our credit, that's in our math office courses. In our credit recovery, our Apex courses, we had 37 students, 95 courses were completed. Out of that, we had 225 ELA credits completed, 155 social science, 25 science credits, and 20 world language credits. Again, a lot of this was getting students back also onto the A2G track.
I wore the wrong glasses to be able to read that, okay. So we had a great summer school program. Can I read off right there?
What are we transitioning?
I'm holding out the rest of the stuff.
Also with our high school students or doing credit recovery, they were highly motivated. I think they went through the system, they were dedicated and on task, so I was pleasantly surprised they were there to get the job done.
Our summer program was a hit, and we had over 175 students doing music, art, PE, STEM, creative writing, and academics. They trained up on their projects and were hands-on by creating and thinking of new skills. The staff this summer worked really cohesively with all the construction to create a lively learning space. Darn it. Okay. Our field trips this year included working with the Calistoga Library, who they love having our kids come over there, and she started calling me like, if you were like, you're coming, right? And it's like, yeah, here's my how the breakdown of how my groups would be, and so she like found programs that like fit those kids for that age group. So they had, as you can see, a reptile show. That's a snake on her head over there. They had a music show, they had a puppet show, and then we didn't really have anything for the fifth graders, so they did a whole special movie craft day for them, where they showed the Minecraft movie and had a craft that went with it, and fed them popcorn and all this stuff, so big shout out to Calistoga Library.
So the junior high program with the age support, again, was amazing. They helped with a lot of, the drones and robotics, our field trip, our chaperones with our staff. Students love the curriculum, especially for robotics and drones. You can come out here and then just kind of dodge the drones out here from the multi-purpose room. The kids were having a blast. Students were highly engaged in field trips. And also the end of the summer picnic where I got the barbecue for the students. That's actually one of the highlights. The ESY program, I think is extremely beneficial for our students, especially walking onto the junior high campus for the first time. Because it's a easy transition for them to know staff like myself, our campus supervisor, our wellness specialists, some of our junior high teachers, high school teachers, and get themselves familiar with the classrooms, highly beneficial. At the high school, like I said earlier, the students that were in credit recovery were motivated, they were on task, they were driven, and it was cool to see. They use their time wisely. Again, ELD was well attended, helped kids improve their English skills, their confidence in their classrooms. Math, again, through the teacher-led instruction, but also with the tool of the ALEX program, help many students recover those essential programs.
The next slide is just some insights that we're always trying to make it better, as we go through it, so, what I had like 3 newcomers show up on the second day of summer school, so it really, I keep thinking like having like an ELD specific curriculum that we could use for them when they come, and then support our other ones that are still, they maybe started the year before. And then the other thing, I really liked having the enrichment with and redoing the creative writing, like the students really enjoyed that too, so.
Yeah, this is some highlights. So the junior high youth enrichment programs, gives having art and music being for students to be exposed at an early age. Is powerful. Hopefully it'll plant the seed. Also the support of ACE, we had planned the field trips at later days to keep our enrollment up throughout the year. Junior high leaves, so we're looking forward to bringing back the MIT program to the junior high league level. This year, due to construction, we just not have the facilities to have the MIT program, but we're looking forward to bringing that back next summer. Also adding the added life advisory class to the junior high league program, helping students transition to the junior high school or high school year. Again, just kind of how to be a student, how to take notes, how to time management, but in a fun way, actually teaching them stuff without them really realizing that they're learning how to be a student. Credit recovery, again, a total of 37 students, grade 10 through 12 enrolled in credit recovery, completing 95 courses. 11 students are now back in that ATG pathway, and like I said, we had 1 student able to meet graduate requirements. And then for summer program and staffing, again, at the secondary level, having a counselor the day before to go over transcripts and making sure that we are getting students in the right class. It's very beneficial and it's helped us actually putting those students in a priority list. So when they get one of their courses done, they do exactly the second course, which helped with the transition and for them being on task and actually having a plan, a summer school plan to meet those requirements.
So to wrap up, you might recognize that gentleman in the oven mitt there. He was our barbecue master along with Miss Lamar for our barbecue. So he wanted to make sure that you guys can see he's doing a thumbs up. And then the girls down there, that was during our field day that we always have on the last day. So it was like a human ring with those. So they all had a great time.
Thank you.
Any questions? Any questions?
Thank you. I know that's a lot of work to put on that program and we appreciate your efforts.
Just add a couple things, so looking at the presentation, one thing, we should do is give a shout out to the Business Service Department. It's a lot of work in the summer, this is not like, all the hours worked are timesheets, and there's a lot of timesheets in the summer. And there's a lot of new staff, so we have to, in terms of our system, we have to onboard and get a lot of new staff into our system. So it's a lot of work for a lot of people in the summer, but I also want to recognize the Business Service Department. And then just to say thank you to Randy and Tammy, they're so good in the summer, they've done this for years, and they just step into those roles confidently, and they solve problems. And having good staff in the summer is important, and having good principal staff in the summer is really important. So we're very fortunate to have you do this year after year. We appreciate you, certainly have peace of mind in having this summer to be able to appreciate.
Thank you. We're moving on to the consent agenda. Actions proposed for the consent agenda are deemed routine in nature and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless any member of the board, the audience, or staff request specific items to be removed from the consent agenda for separate action. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Thank you, Matt. Second? Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Roll call. President Ralph Allen, aye. Clerk Reed.
Aye.
Trustee Lopez Jones.
Aye.
Trustee Rios.
Aye.
Trustee Gonzalez. Action item protocol. Protocol for action items includes a staff presentation, questions from the board, public input, deliberation by the board, and voting by the board. During public input, there will be a 3-minute time limit per person. Resolution 25-2602, student representative induction.
So this is our official resolution bringing our new student board member to the 25-26 school year. So resolution 25-2602 states the governing board of the Calistoga Joint Unified School District includes as student board members. And whereas California Ed Code 35012 provides that the board may authorize its student member to cast preferential votes on all matters except those subject to closed session discussion. Preferential votes shall be cast prior to the official board vote and shall not affect the final numerical outcome of the vote. Preferential votes shall be recorded in the board minutes. The student member may make motions that may be acted upon by the board, except on matters dealing with employer-employee relations. Therefore, be it resolved that the board hereby authorizes its student member to make motions as specified above. Student board member for the 2025-26 school year is Itzia Enriquez. So I'm asking the board to approve resolution 25-2602.
When she already served her position very admirably this weekend in the speech at the ribbon cutting. Can I have a motion? Second, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Welcome to the board. Resolution 25-2603, GAN limit appropriations.
Oops. Good evening, board members. We are doing both the GAN resolution tonight and our unaudited actuals. They're all part of the same package. But we do have to have separate action items for the GAN limits, all part of Prop 4 that was passed many, many years ago. Essentially, what we are doing is passing our own GAN limits so that state can then pass their GAN limits. And so what you're doing tonight is approving the appropriations that are in the form that was provided to you, both for 24-25 and 25-26.
Any questions? Can I have a motion? Second. Thank you, Rudy. All in favor? Aye. 8.4 unaudited actuals financial report for 24-25.
Okay, do I have the ability to move it up there? Yeah, I'll be right back.
Okay. Cannot believe another year has already passed and we have 24-25 done in the books. Done and in the books, I guess. Okay, so our year-end financial reporting process is the only time of the year where the board can actually see all of our expenditures and all of our incomes without a budget being involved. So these are just the actuals of everything. We do have to, at the end of the year, separate our reserves into non-spendable reserves, restricted reserves, assigned reserves, and unassigned reserves, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But all of this is due to the County Office of Ed by September 15th of every year. First and foremost, property tax revenue trends. This is where we get most of our income. And so you will see the past years of tax revenue limits. We saw only a 3.51% growth this year in our property tax income, whereas you can see the other years prior, 6.73 and 7.68. And the dollar amounts, huge dollar differences, right, between years. So I'm assuming we're gonna stay more in the 3.5% range moving forward, and that's what we've put into our budget moving forward. So we'll see more, around $700,000 increases instead of the 1.2. That was very nice in the past years. Our property tax projection changes. This is a look at, with each reporting period, what we thought we were going to be getting in property tax income. So we adopted the 24-25 budget thinking we were going to get somewhere upwards of 132,000 from the prior year. And then at first interim, we went down a little bit because we projected at 4%. We knew at first interim we were going to go down to like 3.66%. And so we lost 129,000 there. Second interim, we still have those same figures. We hadn't gotten our J29P2 yet. And then when we got the J29P2 in April, we went to 120,000 from budget adoption. And then in the end, at the final, when we got all of our real numbers in, we actually lost a total of 150,000 between what we had projected at budget adoption and then, which was the 4% increase, and then coming in at that 3.51. Sorry.
That's my phone.
Is that an owl?
It's an owl.
Sorry about that. Okay, 24-25 general fund revenue. We had a total revenue of almost 26 million. And that's a net decrease of revenue from prior year of over $320,000. We get most of our, like I said before, we get most of our property tax or revenue from property taxes. That makes up about 83% of our total revenue. And then we get 2% in federal revenue, 11% in other state revenue, and then 4% of local income. Our 24-25 general fund expenditures were a little over 26 million. It was a $1.4 million increase from 23-24. So our income went down from last year, our expenditures went up. A lot of that does have to do with one-time funds in our restricted funding areas. And so we had a lot of one-time funds that came in previous years that we are now spending down. But as typical for school districts, employee compensation dominates all of our expenditures. Certificated salaries are at 40%, classified salaries 17%, and employee benefits at 28%. This means that 85% of our budget is dedicated to personnel costs. Last year we were at 81%. This is something that I am watching really closely because obviously as we increase salaries and we increase health contributions for all of our employees, that increases the percentage of the pie that's available in the budget. So over the last 4 years, we've increased salaries by over 16%. We've had very big and large increases to our health and welfare contributions as a district, which means when or when health plans increase, the district is taking on a lot of that. And so that's what's bringing this 81% last year to 85% this year. 24-25 general fund by function. This just shows that over 80% of our dollars do go to instruction and instruction related services. And then there's 8% at school administration, 9.8% at plant services, and then 2% for all other. We do make contributions to lots of different programs with our property tax revenue. Routine restricted maintenance, we are required by the state to put in 3% of at least our 1 through 5s, or our general operating expenditures. And so you can see those numbers there. We went down just a little bit from 23-24, and then we're increasing for 25-26. Special ed continues to increase, except we are seeing just a little bit of the savings from last year to 25-26 because we made a lot of changes in special ed. We were able to bring a couple kids back from non-public schools. Technology, we did a lot of projects last year, so we did have an increase in contribution in technology. Transportation, that is our cost above and beyond the 74,000 we receive in our LTFF calculation. And that's just special ed transportation because we don't have general homeschool transportation in the district. Our Headlands Yosemite programs, and for 25-26, we're adding the outdoor program at the junior senior high school. So that contribution last year was a little over 54,000, and this year it's gonna go up because we are adding that program at the junior senior high. And then child nutrition services, we were supposed to contribute $100,000. We were able to save about 50,000 on that transfer this year, so that saved a little bit of money on our expenditures in the budget. But this year we're looking at 150,000 transfer again. And then capital outlay, we're gonna stay at 100,000. So we're increasing every year in all the contributions that we're making to our programs. A lot of that does have to do with personnel related matters, salaries and benefits. Our 24-25 ending fund balance projections, this is how it evolves from one reporting period to another. So starting with budget adoption, we thought we were gonna be at an ending fund balance of about 12.8 million. Then at first interim, it went down because we had expenditures at that time that we thought were gonna happen. Second interim, it went down again. Budget adoption for 25-26, I made a lot of changes at the end of last year that then brought it up for our ending fund balance for 24-25. And then we ended with unaudited actuals, the real stuff, at 13.4 million. That's a difference of about 600,000 between budget adoption and unaudited actuals, and we'll talk about just a couple of things that made that happen. We did see some income changes as the books were closing, and that came in very late in the year that weren't part of our budget. And so one of that was our CWC Bridge grant that we received from Napa County Office of Education. This is a grant that's taking place for our wellness coordinators in the district, and that we have with Up Valley. And so we received almost $80,000 in that grant this year for 24-25. Our interest income for our whole entire general fund increased by almost 118,000. That was not budgeted for. Local income came in at about 60,000 more than what we had in the budget, and that was because we got some personnel related insurance money from our insurance company that we didn't know we were gonna get. And then scholarships, there's about 38,000 that wasn't budgeted that we got it into our budget. And then expense changes, we have about a 3% budget variance in our budget to expenditures, and what that really means is that out of everything we budget, we spend all but 3% of what's budgeted. Our personnel and benefits is really a lot closer than that. It's anywhere from 0.75% to maybe 1.5%. It's the other things that we budget for, like supplies that we don't end up spending, that we get either carried over to the next year, or we have a different plan for what we have budgeted. Prop 28, we saved almost 66,000. That's not really saved. We just have a year of expenditures that we haven't made yet over at the high school. So hopefully that's going to be happening this year. That reduced our expenditures a lot. And then ELOP, we had some carryover money that was budgeted that we haven't spent yet. So all of that makes up more than 600,000. Again, that budget variance really does make all the little differences that kind of get to that $598,000 amount. Looking at our 24-25 ending fund balance, Our restricted ending fund balance decreased by over $764,000, so we went from 3.28 million in 23-24 to 2.52. That's just reflecting our one-time income that we received, and we're spending down those dollars as the years go on. And then our general fund reserve percentage remains strong at 28.3%. So that's our general fund and our unrestricted dollars combined. When we look at our unrestricted ending fund balance, we increased by 45,000, a little over $45,000. And that has a lot to do with what we just talked about, that budget variance, and then the change in income at the end of the year and the change in expenditures. When we are looking at our unrestricted ending fund balance, we do make assignments for certain things that we want to make sure we have cash to pay for. And so some of those assignments are reflected for forward planning. $850,000 for classroom furniture modernization. I'm going to be increasing that on first interim because we just saw the bills for the STEM building and for the high school modernization. They came in a lot higher than what I expected it to be, so we'll be increasing that, putting away a little bit more to modernize the rest of the district. And then additional commitments for technology refresh cycle. We like to put aside our 7 years of replacing Chromebooks, replacing teacher laptops, and that sort of thing. So that's there. $100,000 for SB 218 assessment liability. This is SB 218 is the sexual abuse law that came into effect that allowed for a lot more reporting on sexual abuse cases. And so our state California insurance fund is actually sending out invoices to districts to start collecting money for all of those cases. And so we've already paid them roughly, I want to say around 50-something thousand, but we have another 100,000 that's due to them this next year. That's not because we've been that we have any complaints against us. That's because we are participating and putting it into the pool for the entire state of California school districts to be able to defend themselves. Funding for critical maintenance projects, 150,000, and then I kind of lumped all of our little carryovers that I have actually assigned out to our one-time dollars that we have set aside, our preschool contingency, and then our MAW carryover, which is our Medi-Cal administrative activities, and that's about 775,000. Your ending fund balance needs to be made up of components. We have a total assets of over 15 million and then liabilities of about 1.5 million. Our liabilities are all of those bills that we know about at June 30th that we haven't paid yet, that we're going to be making those payments for in July. So that was about 1.5 million. And then the 15 million is usually cash, and then the other receipts that we know are expected in also at June 30th. We set aside some money for revolving cash. Set aside some money for prepaid items, like if somebody's going to a conference in October of the new year, but we have to pay for it in May, that's what that is. And then our restricted balances, that's the decline in this restricted balance reserve, that 2.5 million. And then other assignments and commitments, what I just talked about on the former page. And then our reserve for economic uncertainty at 10%, which is what board policy is. And then we have about 4.7 in unassigned ending fund balance reserves. Why do we need a strong ending fund balance? We want to make sure we have good cash flow management. Cash flow is king. A healthy ending fund balance ensures that district can meet payroll and accounts payable obligations without having to borrow from other funds. Especially given that we only get paid twice a year for property tax revenue, and that's only in December and April. So sometimes in November and sometimes in March, we're seeing some low cash flow in our district. Property tax volatility. We don't know what taxes are going to do. You just saw on that first slide that we went from 6.32 last year to 3.61 in 24-25. So there's that volatility every year that we want to make sure we have enough reserves to cover that. And then economic uncertainty. You never know what the state's going to say at the last minute about paying us. As we do have declining enrollment, although it doesn't matter in our property tax revenue, it does matter in things like lottery or any other kind of state funding that we get that is tied to ADA or enrollments. And then one-time funding exploration, again, we're going to have a lot of those one-time grants that were received in the last couple of years. It's going to be coming to an end. We have ongoing salaries in those restricted items, and those are going to come to unrestricted. We want to make sure we have the funds to cover that. And so, again, very important to have strong reserves, especially in a small school district. I didn't even put that up here, but any small school district should have reserves well in excess of what the state recommends at 5% or 4%. 24-25. These are other ending fund balances. We do have other funds within the district. That's what all of these are. Cafeteria fund, well over 200,000. Student activity fund, that's something we have to start reporting. So these are our ASB accounts. The high school and the elementary school both have ASB accounts. It's a combined total. Building fund has a little over 22 million in it. That's for our projects that we have going on right now, our field and our TK building especially. Bond and interest redemption fund, those are tax payments that are collected from taxpayers in order to make our bond payments. So we don't really see any of that happening, that's just reflected in our books. Adult education fund, a little over $1,000, developer fees, a little over 353,000, we're probably setting that this year on our TK building. Capital outlay has a little over 924,000, we do have projects in mind for that. And then fund 35 with 390 will also go to our TK building. Next steps, we are going to update the 25-26 budget for first interim. We're gonna keep monitoring property tax income, and then in December, I'll be presenting the first interim report. That's it. Any questions for me?
Guess not. Thank you so much. All right, can I have a motion to approve the unaudited actual report for 24-25 as presented? Second. Thank you, Indira. All in favor? Aye. Memorandum of 8.5 memorandum of understanding with Calistoga Associated Teachers for catastrophic leave for employee number 281.
Our current catastrophic leave conditions in the collective bargaining agreement are for one's own serious health condition. And this is an MOU, an agreement between the district and CAT to expand that for the serious health condition or bereavement of employee 281.
I have a motion. All in favor? Aye. 8.6 agreement with Sonoma State University.
Yeah, this is a new agreement with Sonoma State to open up dual enrollment between the university and Calistoga schools, so that's very exciting. Anytime we can talk about dual enrollment and offering opportunities for our students to get college credit while in high school, that is a good thing. And so this is an agreement between the organizations. That's really what it says. I can share with you that what the plan is for this year is for Carlos Serber to teach Education 150, Exploration and Teaching. It's a 3-unit college course through Sonoma State. And we already have students in her internship program who for years have gone to the elementary school and had that experience. So this is really that same thing. Carla will have to do some different things to make sure that she meets the standard of the syllabus for that course. But it's not a significant change for us, and it's going to result in our students leaving Calistoga schools with 3 college credits. So that's a good thing.
Can I have a motion? All in favor? Aye. 8.7 agreement with Economy Lock and Key for CES campus-wide rekey services.
This is the agreement to do the rekeying of the elementary schools and to make it high school.
Can I have a motion? Second? All in favor? Aye. Eight point eight, 7-Eleven committee applicants.
So the purpose of this is for us to adopt a committee that is between 7 community members and 11 community members to discuss our vacant property on Money Lane and talk about its uses and make a recommendation to the board. Should we decide to lease it out, sell it, surplus it, etc. And so we have received 7 applications from the community that fall under the categories of ethnic, age group, and socioeconomic composition of the district, the business community, landowners or renters. We have a teacher, we have an administrator, parents, and then persons with expertise in environmental impact. So the 7 applications are in front of you. I'm recommending that you accept as the 7-Eleven committee and accept those applications.
Can I have a motion?
Are we able to add, if other people come
forward
Yes, we
after
did.
this point? Okay.
Yes, so if there were other applications that came to us before our October board meeting, we could approve them to add in, we just cannot go over 11. So if somebody else decides they want to apply, and then would be able to make any future meetings.
Can I have a motion? Second? All in favor? Aye. Reports, 9.1 student representative.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lucia and school begins. Our school community would like to recognize the math department and its improvements. We would like to recognize our flex time and tutoring. Personally, I think it has helped a lot. I know many students were struggling with it last year and I have a lot of friends and known people that took that Apex class during summer, which helped a lot. The demerit system has also proven effective, not just for discipline, but for also giving or opening doors for those students to learn how to take accountability, but also being able to start all over. I would also like to recognize the new STEM building. It has created a safer space, definitely more quieter than it was, but the financial support in school as well, just not being able to pay for those AP exams and having those free lunches for the students who can't afford them. For upcoming events, we would like to have the recognition for Hispanic Heritage Month. And then the suicide prevention break activities that will just remind those students that everyone has their own personal obstacles. I asked a couple students about some improvements that the school community could have, and many of them stayed quiet, which is always a good thing, but I didn't have any of that. Personally, I do want to highlight the junior high. Many of them do seem unmotivated. Personally, every time I walk into Mr. Lowe's class, especially, he's always talking about how many of the students don't like to do their work. For solutions for that, I would like to contact the junior high ASB and see what activities we could work on, or just have that one-on-one conversation with the junior high about that their future matters and there's always something to fight for. But I would just like to put it out there for any upcoming ideas for activities that we could do as a school together. But that's pretty much it for me.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your excellent report. And 9.2 Calistoga Associated Teachers.
Switch on, okay. We're starting the school year planning for potential changes after the school board's decision to start a dual language immersion track in our schools. And as educators, we want our students to be academically successful, to learn, to grow, thrive. We had a meeting with district personnel to get some details or at least ideas about how they anticipate aspects of the dual language program working. But there are a lot of important questions that still need to be answered. We appreciate being able to set that baseline, but there's still a lot of work to do. As educators, we'll be the ones implementing the program, and if the program is to be successful, we'll require listening to educators, bargaining in good faith the impacts of this new program on our working conditions, and following our contract and our rights as educators and as union members. Already we've had a bumpy start, as we had to remind the district that our contract clearly gives us the right to appoint members to joint district committees, as well as a few additional contractual issues, which we are meeting with district personnel and admins later this week to hopefully resolve. We want the school year to be one where there is collaboration and where we come up with the best plans together to support all students here at Calistoga. Questions?
Go ahead. Can anyone in administration speak to the issues brought to our attention?
I can. Matt's let us know about several issues. The first step when that happens is for us to meet. And it's important to have in-person, in-face human conversation. Now it's important, it's required by the contract, and so we look forward to having those meetings. I think that meeting has been set for this week. So as far as I can tell, the issues that have been raised are very manageable issues. And I think in the past, those are issues we can resolve with a phone call or a quick meeting. So I don't see those as being highly problematic. I think what's been hard is to get a meeting scheduled. But if we can sit down in person, face to face, have real communication, I think we'll find solutions. And if we don't find solutions, then we'll figure out what the next steps are. But I don't see this, as something that is concerning or an escalation, right? This is something that we just need to come together and talk.
Are there any other questions? All right, well, we look forward to hearing the next steps. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, 9.3 Classified School Employees Association.
No report.
Okay. 9.4 Calistoga Elementary School Principal.
Well, good evening, everyone. Pull that back just a little bit. With respect to LCAP goal number 1, ensuring academic excellence for all students. We are preparing for our first MAP administration the week of September 15th through 19th. And this is in grades K through 6. And additionally, we are going to be administering the Amplified DeVos Plus, the California Reading Difficulty Screener. That's going to be administered in grades 1 through 3. After that, we will then start our first round of release days. A change here to our schedule is that our TK and K are going to be separated as 2 individual grades, because we now have 2 standalone TK classes. And then we have 3 standalone K classes. We're also looking at, with our TK program, it's now a fully implemented program. And so we're going to be doing some work with the TK teachers, especially in understanding the learning foundations piece. Also in additional changes, we're going to be spending time on the multi-tiered system of support to identify students by name and need. Am I getting a lot of feedback here? I feel like I'm holding it way back here and I don't want to blast you out. Okay. Or maybe it's just me. Our school committees have started so far. We have met with the Guided Coalition, our leadership team, and our Leads Literacy. And coming up this month, we'll have our mathematics leadership team and safety teams meeting later this month. We're also going to be finishing out our training with our new social studies adoption, which is called TCI, Teachers Curriculum Institute. And finally, I am happy to report that our My Math curriculum did arrive last Wednesday. We were able to track it. It came from Ohio. It really was like where's the curriculum going? The largest disappointment was that it arrived in Sacramento right before Labor Day, and the morning that it was supposed to be delivered, they said, sorry, due to the holiday, we're going to be pushing it into next week. We were ready to go to get those that palette taken apart and get those materials out there. With respect to LCAP Goal 2, providing a safe, healthy, and positive school environment. Today was the first day that we moved our recess to the back of the school. Thank you to Chris Oakes and our construction team for making themselves available for meeting each week to review the progress on the project. And each week we've provided updates for our staff. And similar to how we started with Berryfield, we're going to be sharing activities in off-limit areas for students. And also we'll continue our feedback loop to adjust as needed. Our plan is to train all staff on peaceful playgrounds on October 1st, 2025. And we're going to reach out to the community to get volunteers to help with intramural sports. And then finally, with respect to LCAP goal number 3, increasing parent engagement and enhancing communication. This Thursday, we're going to have our back to school night. We are going to be creating some rolling boards for for parents to sign up for the many ways that they can volunteer at Calistoga Elementary School. And back to school night gives parents the opportunity to learn about classroom routines and expectations. And our first parent teacher organization meeting will be on Monday, September 15th, 2025. We'll be looking at holding elections and starting to plan for the year. And so that concludes my report for this evening. Are there any questions?
I just heard personally within my own family, the excitement of having the.
Well, and I think the other exciting piece about it is that the students got to do chalk art, which you can't really do on Berry Field. It's not gonna stick or make any lasting impression. It was interesting because students came up to me at recess and said, well, you know, what would be the benefit of being back here? And I said, well, I want you to think about like if we get really wet weather and we can't use our field, and they go, oh, then we still have this area we could use. So I do like that piece of being able to talk to students about kind of the phases and the intention and as I said, I think that the novelty today, I think they had a good time.
I just want to say that I'm gonna miss the voices and the laughter. It was really a real treat for my staff and for me to have, the students playing on the Berry Field. Just so happy. So, thank you.
Thank you. And 9.5 Calistoga Junior Senior High School Principal.
Good evening, everyone. In regards to LCAP Goal 1, ensuring academic excellence for all students, CJSHS has completed its third full week of school and held its annual back to school night last Thursday on September 4th. This event allows for parents to meet the teachers at their own pace and ask questions as needed. Teachers provide syllabi and the best form of communication to support student learning. Several community organizations were also present to provide support and resources to students and families. We are working to provide a more structured system for Thursday Flex Time as part of the ongoing PLC conversation and collaboration. The focus is targeting the intervention for students who need it the most. Our first Flex Time will be this Thursday, 9/11. As Ms. Lamar mentioned, we do have fall map next week, the 15th through 19th. We will have a modified schedule. Once map is completed, the results will be reviewed, analyzed, and celebrated. Additionally, I did not include it in this report, but next Tuesday, we are also going to have a visit from NCOE for a Williams audit. And so we are preparing the documents so that everything is in order for our visit next Tuesday. LCAP Goal 2, provide a safe, healthy, and positive school environment. CJSH's wellness specialist, Karina Solis, creates weekly wellness tips for students and families, and it's all included in our weekly newsletter. She also meets with students who need additional support and provides the sound just cut. CJSHS will continue to collaborate with Up Valley Family Center to review students for mentoring, diversion, and counseling. This school year, CJSHS implemented a fresh start policy for all students, which cleared all the tensions from prior years. This policy allows students to have a fresh start at the beginning of the year and participate in events, sports, and other extracurricular activities. This goal is to support increased engagement and participation for students. The CJSHS administration have also met with all grade levels and reviewed the student planner, which includes the student behavior expectations and consequences. LCAP goal number 3, increase parent engagement and enhance communication. CJSHS held the first coffee with the principal last Thursday, September 4th. We will continue to hold this event on the first Thursday of the month, with the next one scheduled for October 2nd. The Sober Grad Committee also held their first meeting of the year at the end of August. They actually have their second meeting tonight, right now at 7 o'clock. The officers from the class of 2025 were present for the first Sober Grad meeting, and they shared the information. They did the handover of the binder and all of the details that are included for a successful Sober Grad party. Celebration. The new officers for the class of 2026 were selected and are very excited to start the fundraising process. While Sober Grad functions as a parent committee separate from the school, CJSHS staff and administration support the efforts and collaborate on an ongoing basis with that committee. Site council and PTO will also be additional opportunities for parents to become more involved as leaders with our school community. That concludes my report. Are there any questions?
Just one that I know that the community events that are held out here for fundraisers are very well received by the community and families. So just know that they have a lot of support if they choose to put out more of those events.
Yes, I think in collaboration with ASB, we will look for new events. There were people at back to school night asking if parents were doing any fundraising efforts. So I think that is something we can, it's hard for the first event back. Not all of the parent committees are fully ready. So we will be having the Day of the Dead event. We haven't picked the date because the first Monday is actually a board meeting. So it will likely be the Tuesday or Wednesday of the first week of November. Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you. 9.6, Director of Facilities, Maintenance, Operations and Transportation.
Hello, everybody. So, just want to thank everybody that came to the STEM ribbon cutting. I thought it was pretty successful, and we actually had a lot of people that I was expecting. I don't know if that officially means we're done with the STEM project. Unless something great happens. Next on is on the fields. FRC's been working 6 hours, 6 days a week, 12 hours a day to ensure that our field is playable for the 16. And just when I say playable, I mean turf and place for students, so people to sit and lights and sport. Still a lot more to do. Once the seasons are over, we'll get the bleachers installed as well as the concession stand. Tecate, the turf manufacturer, started to get work out here on Friday. They'll be working through the 24th and 25th. And then over the TK rooms, all that deep soil mixing was complete, all the machinery was removed. As Nicole said, we are moving the fence back. Right now, the reports are in the CGS. Once we get those back approved from CGS, we'll send it to CSA for the final approval. Couple things we're waiting on is some break tests for the concrete as they concrete that went into the ground as they were doing it. They take samples and they let that cure. There was a break test in 7 days, 14 days. Those are all a few things that are still need to be done. But as while that's going on, they're out staking and surveying and preparing the pad for the foundations. So get started in the foundations around DSA. And then as for the generators, the elementary school one is still in DSA, and then we're still in design on the high school one. It's going to be a little bit more complicated to connect to the power areas because instead we have figured for sure the CS one would be a lot worse because it's underground, but apparently CS is a lot easier than the high school. So as soon as that goes into DSA, we'll show. Questions?
Thank you. 9.7, Director of Educational Services and Human Resources.
Okay, so we'll start off with an update on health and safety. And as I was thinking about this, during COVID-19 and that time frame, we developed like this new strong relationship with Napa County Public Health that we never had before, like personal relationships. We were working together all the time. And also, to some degree, the California Department of Public Health, not an authentic relationship. We certainly heard from them a lot more and we got used to that communication. And so we kind of passed the hurdle with COVID to some degree. There's this remnants of that communication that's still happening. And so one of the areas that has to do with Narcan. And so several years ago, the state through CPH funded Narcan for schools, and we received them, the doses that we could use. And then this past year in the spring, they notified us they were going to renew that. So we've received all new Narcan with longer expiration dates, so we're good for several years. We have that placed at both of our school sites, as well as in our food service department, our kitchens at both sites, as well as in facilities, so that everybody has it. We have seven staff members who are trained. Though to be honest, even without training, you could administer. It's very easy, and there's our staff are limited from liability in the state of California, even if you aren't trained, if you're administering it with good intent. So this is good to have this on our campuses. New this year, they've sent us what are called fentanyl test strips. And our site administrators have been trained yet. Okay, so we're, these are coming out to, Randy, you have? Good, yeah, so we're rolling these out, these are just coming out, getting those to the site, really site administrators, who are trained by our nurse, district nurse. And these are strips that, they're really easy to use where you, if you have a substance, for some reason you felt the substance may contain fentanyl and it felt urgent, you have this ability to test it to see if it contained fentanyl. Obviously, if something were happening, we're gonna call the police department, but if it felt urgent, we're gonna have a tool in our hands that can help us do that, and that was provided, again, free of charge, funded by the state of California through CDPH. Also, we've renewed our EpiPens, so we have EpiPens that are up to date at all our sites. So there's a lot going on at the start of the year, making sure that we have everything in place to keep our kids safe. And separate but related, we also have CISC, who is our provider for healthcare, puts on a food clinic for our staff every year. And so this year that will be September 25th. And so staff members, as well as their family members, even if you're not insured, if you're just a member of the school district, you have access to the free food clinic on that day. And then I also want to share some information with you tonight on differentiated assistance. And differentiated assistance is like good news, bad news situation. So the bad news is that the state has identified us as having an area of need and concern in our performance, and I'll share with you what that is. The good news is that we get support, and we get support from the county. And there was an era a long time ago called program improvement, and back in the old days, right, they would label you and stigmatize you and try to harm you, right? And differentiated assistance is a new era, and it's really good. It's support for your district, and typically from the County Office of Education. And the last time we were in differentiated assistance, we had a really great experience and outcome, which is the data leadership team, DLT, right? DLT that we have today started with differentiated assistance. That was that group, and now it's a big part of how Calistoga does business. So the first area I can talk about is relates to our English learner students. And we qualified because our long-term English learner group, which is a new subgroup last year, performed in the red zone on the California dashboard in English learner progress. And so that's an area that we qualify, right? So what are we gonna do about that? Well, one area that we're gonna look at is, and we'd already started planning for this, was to start a new multi-language learner committee, an MLL committee. We had talked about this last year as being important, that we really shift some attention and some time and some group thinking from our staff and our leaders around how to best support our English learners, our multi-language learners. That was already happening. Then when we got identified for differentiated assistance, now we're communicating with the county about them supporting that endeavor. And so I'm very excited about that. We're gonna have support from Lucy Kirsten Edwards herself. She's the Assistant Superintendent of Continuous Improvement and Academic Support for NCOE, and really 3 or 4 of her coaches. And they're gonna co-facilitate that committee with me. They're gonna help me draft the agendas, facilitate the sessions. And I think I shared with you last year that, you know, I was looking for support in this area of expertise. And so Michaela Nicola, who is the works for NCOE, she's also the Region 4 liaison for Each Learner Matters, is gonna be a part of this team. So very excited. Our first meeting is tomorrow afternoon. The goals of this committee will be to analyze our current program, our current English learner program, and determine what are our strengths and what are our areas for growth. Develop an action plan to address the areas of growth and then implement those changes, right? And then along the way, develop an English learner master plan. We're not required by law to have an English learner master plan, but kind of similar to the tech plan that we worked on several years ago, it's a really good practice for us to go through to document how we do business, and have a living document that really captures our approach to supporting English learners. I'm envisioning this really as a 2-year endeavor. This is not something we're trying to do quickly, and just to get it done. We need to take our time and do the analysis of our program, and then be thoughtful about how we're going to make changes that are going to improve the outcomes for kids. And then the other area is in the area of mathematics. And in this qualification for this, if you have 2 subgroups There are a lot of subgroups, so we have two subgroups that are in the red zone in the California dashboard, you qualify for differentiated assistance. For us, this was the special education subgroup. And they performed in the red in mathematics and suspension. And so we are collaborating with the County Office of Education, really in the area of mathematics support. And so we have two NCOE coaches that will be working with a team of teachers in the elementary school. And what they will be doing is really supporting the process, this year-long process, really of a lead up to the adoption of a new math textbook and curriculum. We have a new list of approved textbooks that we've been waiting so long for, since about 2013. It's going to be released in November or December. And that will be based on the new math framework that's just been released, 2023. And so this team from CES, with the help of coaches from NCOE, will be building their capacity and understanding of the new framework, so that they have a current lens through which to look at this new set of textbooks. So that's what's happening with differentiated assistance support for mathematics, and also just related. The junior senior high school team is still working with the UC Davis Math Project. They have their first meeting of the year today, and they're working on the same endeavor. The second half of the year, we'll bring those two teams together. As we look towards probably selecting textbooks to pilot in the spring of this year, and then starting a pilot in the fall of next year. And then lastly tonight, just because we're talking about textbook adoptions, we just got news that the CDE is going to move on English language arts curriculum adoption. And again, we haven't seen like new textbooks released for the CDE. It's approved textbook list since Common Core Standards in 2013. So we've all been waiting for new textbooks, right? The CDE will be reviewing new textbooks July 26th. We should hopefully have a recommendation November 26th. So that's somewhere out in the future, but at least we have information to know, okay, how far do we need to get with our current English curriculum? Because I know our teachers are certainly saying and wanting, yes, we need better math, newer math in English curriculum. And that's my report for tonight.
Any questions? Thank you. 11.8 Superintendent.
Good evening, everyone. I just want to thank everyone. It's been mentioned a couple of times. Just again, on Saturday, we had our official stand ribbon cutting ceremony. We had great attendance from our community, which was great to offer our community members who are actually the ones that are funding this come out and actually see the new facility. We had several speeches. I thought it was great how seamlessly the speeches went. We were not here for hours. But I do want to highlight one speech in particular. I do want to thank Itsia for coming out on Saturday. As Stephanie mentioned, you represented the student board representation very well. She's also in the Press Democrat and is quoted as well as a picture. So you need to make sure you cut that out and keep that. So thank you for sharing your thoughts on what the building means to you and your classmates moving forward. So thank you. I want to mention that tomorrow is our first official dual language immersion planning session, which Digital Promise is leading. It's a robust team that consists of teachers, paraprofessional, parents, board members, and administrators, as well as our parent community liaison, to talk about setting the stage for what our expectations are and what we want out of this program. And what we determine tomorrow will allow us to go out and find the right professional development provider to work with our staff and us as we plan out what's going to happen over the next year. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow to determining our vision and thinking about what our next steps are. I'm looking forward to putting out the request for proposals to multiple professional development providers and having the team look at those proposals, match to what a rubric that we're going to develop, and then bringing a recommendation to the October board meeting that is supported by the entire team. I've scheduled a tour of the Brandon Center for staff who are thinking about ways for them to utilize the Brandon Center. So we have two sessions, Thursday at 3:30 and Friday at 3:45 for any of our staff members who want a private tour of the Brandon Center, because we are looking forward to partnering with them in terms of offering opportunities for our teachers and students to not only have field trips there, but to also do events that our staff our planning. So for example, I'm already in conversations with Sorrentino about doing our art fair at the end of the year at the Brandon Center. I'm in conversations with Ms. Musser about doing our poetry out loud, as well as Mr. Gutman about Genius Hour, having opportunities. And then also conversations with, they have field trips already set up for elementary school students, that they're coordinating with Nicole, for our elementary students to be able to walk over and see a performance that's occurring, over there. And then the reason for Thursday and Friday is for any other staff member who wants to see it, to gauge an idea in their mind of what they might want to do. Is there an opportunity for them to have an event or bring their class over to do a performance or to learn in that way? Which then leads me to my next statement, which we're partnering once again with the Calistoga Ed Foundation. We've sent out the grant application to all of our staff. I will be applying for the district in order to fund opportunities for our staff to utilize the Brandon Center. Because while it's a great opportunity and it's a nonprofit itself, and so there needs to be some sort of fee to show that we're supporting this, they can't run it for free. So I'll be asking CEF to sponsor those field trips and or events that we have there. Last month, I mentioned that we have a new county superintendent, Josh Schultz, who'll be coming to our October board meeting to introduce himself as well as his vision for the coming year with him as the new superintendent. So I'm excited for him to come and share his thoughts and talk about their strategic plan that they're getting ready to roll out and get feedback. And then finally, just the start of the school year, we've been talking about enrollment. We know that we have been going through declining enrollment over the past few years. And we've had conversations as a board around inter-district transfers, both in and out. So I asked Cynthia to run those numbers for us. And so we have received 49 students into our district, of which 27 of them are from Middletown. 5 are from Canocti, 5 are from St. Helena, 4 are from Howell Mountain, 4 are from Santa Rosa City Schools, 2 are from Mark West, 1 is from Napa Valley Unified, and 1 is from Rincon Valley. So we do have 49 students that are on inter-district transfers into our district. Unfortunately, we have 73 students that are going out to other districts. So of those 73 students, 70 go to St. Helena, of which 69 are district of choice, which are actually 45 families. So of those 69 are multiple children within one family. 4 are on formal inter-district transfers. 2 students are outgoing to Hillsburg and 1 student is outgoing to Napa Valley Unified. And there's a variety of reasons on why students are going up, but I just wanted to share the numbers. So as we have conversations about why students are leaving, are there things that we can do better? Are there things that we can figure out what it is that's causing them to leave? There may or may not. It may be a reason that we have no control over, because their family, they work for that district, etc. But it may be something that we might want to look at improving for ourselves as well. So that was just an update that I have. That's all I have.
Thank you. All right, we're on to closing items, board member reports. I just wanted to say, I thought Saturday was really great and I appreciated everyone who came out and the staff who helped put on that ribbon cutting. It was really nice to see how well supported our district is in the community and how great the building turned out. So thank you to everyone who helped get us across the finish line and thank you on Saturday.
I also want to say that it was a very nice opportunity for us to visit the classrooms and take a look at all the equipment and I didn't even know before, but that's wonderful to see that. One thing that is very interesting, I visited Mr. Gill's classroom and I took the opportunity to ask him about the furniture. And I saw that it's a very interesting shapes of furniture there, especially the tables. And he took his time, and I really appreciate that he did that. He took his time to express how versatile this system furniture is and how he uses it in different ways to hold, small groups working pairs, three students working together, and he went and showed me how the furniture can be moved around. And he was very excited. I think that one of the other board members walked in, and he had an audience of people there. There were probably about 10, 15 people there, looking at what he was doing with his classroom, and he was showing us how he uses it. So I think it's important, right, to recognize that, it takes time to get used to things, but I think that they have a purpose, and I'm happy that he was, happy with that, with the, choice of curriculum.
I also thought that the ribbon cutting on Saturday was really nice. It's great to see, the community come out, past superintendents come out, principals to come out. It's really great to see, and, I've just watched community members, their eyes widen as they walk through all of the rooms. And so I think it was really great, for them to be able to see it come to fruition and not just drive by and see it, from the outside. I am also excited about the DLI implementation planning meeting that's happening tomorrow. I'm excited to be a part of that group that is filled with what Dr. Goodman said, a variety of different stakeholders. So I think it'll be a great starting point in the journey. I just had a few other notes as I was walking around at the ribbon cutting, noticing that it was all fenced in, that portion of the school site, and then knowing that with the new field, it was also going to be fenced in. And then seeing the fence around Berry Field, it kind of got me thinking that, as awful as it is to think about the safety of our kids when we send them to school, it's a very real point that we have to think about, unfortunately. And I think that it would be smart to have it in our purview to look at fully fencing in our junior, senior high school, or I guess completing the fence that are going to be already existing. And then I do think that Berry Field is underutilized for our school, but overutilized by our community. And I do think that we should use that space and not share it with the four-legged companions of the community. I think very nicely. So I do think that it is something that we should look into. I think that our kids deserve to use every aspect of our campus. I am not suggesting having them run all between both the recesses, but having it be used for the kids, because that's what it's there for. So I would like the district to look into completing that fencing, what the cost would be, what the possible issues would be in doing that. I think it's about time, personally. And then the last point, is just a note on our food program. I was just reminded when we signed, the parent-student handbook, how it said, no Takis, no soda, no candy. And then I'm like, oh, hey, Sophia, what was for second breakfast? She goes, oh, we had Fruit Loops today. And I'm kind of like, it just doesn't, it doesn't sit well with me personally. I feel like, even though I know last year, Rosa came in and did a presentation on, the amount of sugar in the food, and say we were within state standard and all that, and I am completely appreciative of the almost impossible job that she and the culinary team are tasked with. But I do feel like, offering coffee cake and muffins and conchas and those sorts of items might not be the most nutritious and best items to help our students not get the sugar jitters in class. So if we could just take a look and make sure that we are also following the guidelines that we are sending home for our students and our parents of no junk food, basically, I want to make sure that we are also following those same guidelines from our kitchen. So That's it.
I would just echo what everybody said about the Saturday event. It's really exciting to see the STEM building. And really exciting to see the community see the STEM building. That was great. But I also wanted to say how great back to school night was this campus last Thursday. Really fun event. It's always great to go into the classrooms. They have a few people to which is extra fun. So thanks for being sharing that.
Great, thank you. Our next meeting is Monday, October sixth. Our tentative future agenda items are sufficiency of instructional materials and independent study during winter break data. We have no need to reconvene to closed session. So 10.6, can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting? Second. All in favor? Aye.